Well, now we've got one. We're talking about human rights, and we're starting with the idea of natural rights. Natural rights is something that, well, all of humanity has recognized throughout the millennia. But some people have tried to replace the idea of natural rights with rights that they've constructed that are based upon social or economic considerations, beginning with the progressives from the World War I era. In the United States, that was embodied in Woodrow Wilson and then put into practice through FDR when he became president by World War II, and then became part of the United Nations understanding of human rights in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 with Eleanor Roosevelt, FDR's wife, after FDR himself had died. He had passed from us. The social rights. That's an interesting one. We call that the second wave or second level, second tier rights. The first tier being natural rights. And those are the rights that America, for instance, was founded upon. The idea of natural rights came from this, well, I don't want to say it came from John Locke. It really didn't, but the form and the understanding of natural rights that we recognize in the United States began with our understanding of John Locke. Natural rights thinking, of course, has been around for thousands of years, but John Locke had a unique take on natural rights. And it says that those rights that we have that come naturally to us are given to us by nature for those that don't believe in God. But for those that do believe in God, they come from us, and they come from God. They're given to us directly. So they're rights from God. So how do those rights get to us? They get to us because we were created by God. And we were created with the ability to do certain things. To think, to worship, to move about freely. He borrowed the idea of life, liberty, and property. So when he talked about our natural God-given rights, he talked about life, liberty, and property. Now, property, it sounds like a little bit of a selfish economics-related concept. How is that related to natural rights? In John Locke's thinking, everybody that owns something has a right to that thing that they own. This is mine. Somebody can come in and take it from me, and I'll probably say, okay, you can have it. I'll give them the shirt off my back. But until then, it's my property. It's my thing. It is mine. Therefore, I can do with it. I can dispose of it however I wish to dispose of it. In John Locke's thinking, however, all human beings are the property of God. So while we can dispose of the property that belongs to us in whatever way we wish, we ourselves are not our own property. We are God's property. Therefore, we do not have the right to dispose of ourselves. John Locke would have been against suicide, for instance, because we are the property of God. That's good. It keeps my heartburn down a little bit, so too much acid reflux going on. Need to lose a few more pounds, or here in Korea, kilos, before I can get that under control. So for John Locke and for most of history, the idea of natural rights is that we have life, liberty, and property, or as Thomas Jefferson put it in the Declaration of Independence, the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness, property, can use those terms pretty much interchangeably. Because it wasn't that we have the right to happiness, we have the right to the pursuit of happiness. We have the right to contract, to business. We have the right to do whatever is necessary for us to be able to flourish and do what it is that we were created to do, whatever that happens to be. Well, that kind of gets into another concept that feeds into this idea of natural rights, and that is function, right? I play the guitar, and that guitar cannot drive me to school. It's not going to drive me to the store. I can sit on it and put my key in it and try to turn that thing on, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to break. I'm going to ruin it. That's not its function. Its function is to make music. It doesn't make music particularly well because there's either a problem with either the guitar or with the person playing it, which is me. And so one of the two of us has kind of got to give up on the idea of creating music. But that is the function of that guitar. Human beings have certain functions as well. We have the function of thinking, of mutating and moving around. We have different functions. We have the function of worshiping the one that created us, the God in heaven. Or for those of you that don't believe that there's a God, I pity you, but you might find some other purpose or function for your existence. I don't know what that would happen to be. Life, liberty, the freedom to do things, to make choices, to make the right choices. If there's two neutral choices, then choosing one way or the other, we have the right to choose between those neutral conclusions. If there's a choice between good and evil, we don't have the right to choose evil. We have the power to choose evil. We have that function. We have the right to choose the good, if that's the ultimate choice. So don't mistake the idea of rights with authority or power to do something. It's simply that we can maximize the way that we have been created to be. The idea of natural rights is that all human beings everywhere on earth, and even Eleanor Roosevelt in her Universal Declaration of Human Rights, recognized this concept. The UDHR is a combination of first-tier rights and second-tier rights. We'll get to the second-tier rights. Those really don't pick up in earnest until about the 22nd article of that 30-article piece of paper, that declaration. Although it's foreshadowed early on, starting in the preamble of that declaration, it's there. But for the most part, the first part of the Declaration of Human Rights is all about our natural rights, life, liberty, and property, or the pursuit of happiness. It's all about the quality of life and not necessarily life itself that the UDHR is talking about, the quality of life. That's kind of what distinguishes it from natural rights in general, which is simply to say that you have the right to exist, to continue to be, to think, to worship as you wish, to go where you wish, to own, and to improve upon, to distinguish, to waste, to get rid of those things that belong to you, those properties, often believed to be God-given or derived from natural law or nature itself. Natural rights are those things that all people have by virtue of their existence. It's not given to them by government. So the natural rights thinkers, those like in America, that believe that we have these rights, these natural rights, by virtue of our being created with certain functions and capabilities by God, well, these rights cannot be taken away by government. These rights pre-exist government. We have those rights before we acknowledge or join into any kind of social contract to say that this government can tell me what to do. The conservatives' view of natural rights is that we do recognize that we can compromise some of our rights in order to live with other people in society. And we give the power of government to the government. In other words, the power that the government, the authority that the government has, comes from us that have given that government the right to protect our rights, to keep us secure, and to enable us best to engage in economic commerce, right? Back and forth. That's it. So, right to life, liberty, property, freedom of thought and expression. Characteristics are that they are universal. These rights apply to all human beings everywhere at the same time, whether they're in the United States or not. I'm in Korea. I believe that I have these natural rights, whether the Korean government agrees with me or not. So far, they do. We'll find out in a week whether they continue to do so, but that's another story. They're inalienable. They cannot be taken away from human beings by government. If the government seeks to take away somebody's natural rights, they are no longer legitimate. And it is our right, even our responsibility, to overthrow that government. And they're fundamental to our human existence. Natural rights are fundamental to our existence. Okay? That's probably enough about natural rights. We'll talk about social and economic rights in our next video. Talk to you later.